Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Hello and a warm welcome to this webinar of getting valuable insights of the CRM data with our new age smart data visualization apps, the Kanban Board and the Map My Relationships. Now, let me very briefly describe the nature of this webinar. Line of all the participants are muted. I recommend the use of chat window in case you have any question, and I will try to answer most of the questions, if not all, in the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. I am your host for this webinar. My name is Ninad, and I am the Business Development Manager of Inogic. Speaking of Inogic, we are a leading service provider and ISV for past more than a decade. We have exclusive Dynamics 365 products. We are very much active in the Dynamics 365 community. Our blogs are very much popular and appreciated by the community. We truly believe in the philosophy of one-click solution, which is building productivity apps that reduces multiple steps which otherwise a CRM user has to take to achieve a certain result. Now, as you can see on the slide, we have various applications on the offering. I would like to take a moment and very briefly describe some of them. Maplytics. Maplytics is certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365 and helps businesses around the world to plot, plan, visualize, and analyze Dynamics CRM data on map and offer seamless mapping services. Key features include managing territories, route optimization, smart appointment planner, and many more. One of my favorite apps from the bouquet is the SharePoint Security Sync. It is a comprehensive solution for integrating Dynamics 365 with SharePoint. It also synchronizes the security privileges from Dynamics 365 to SharePoint to ensure reliable, secure access to all of your confidential documents. Apart from developing these awesome applications, we are also SI. We do assist partners and customers with offshore development services. So in case you are looking out for any customizations, or if you have even a world-changing idea, I request you to get in touch with us on crm@inogic.com. That's crm@inogic.com. So let's see what's the agenda for the day. We will start with the impact of the visualization, then move on to the Kanban board, the features offered by the Kanban board and its live demonstration. Then we will move on to Map My Relationships, its features and live demonstration. Then I will open the floor for the Q&A session. So without further ado, let's dive in the world of visualization. Now, have you ever wondered why do we click photos and selfies when we visit anywhere, especially any world famous monument or place? Why don't we just enjoy that moment of being there without clicking the photos? Well, honestly, I don't want to be the philosophical guy here, but my take is after a certain duration has passed, when we look at the photo or the selfie, the entire journey is redrawn in our mind. We remember even the minute details of the fun we had in the entire journey. That's the power of visualization. Why can't we leverage the same power of visualization in CRM? In fact, with visualizations, organizations are 5 times more likely to make decisions much faster than their market peers. Visualization is also capable in reducing the business meeting duration by up to 24%. And to take a step further, a 48% of managers find the data they need easily using data visualization tools. So in a nutshell, visualization increases visibility, enhances flexibility, it prevents bottlenecks, and above all, it increases efficiency. Now, the first tool that I want to introduce to you is the Kanban board. It provides a card-based Kanban view for Dynamics 365 CRM and Dataverse. But what exactly is the meaning of the word Kanban? Well, it's a Japanese manufacturing system in which the supply of the components was regulated through the use of an instruction card that was sent along the production line. Well, inspired with this idea of conveying something more meaningful with the help of a card, we came up with the beautiful visualization of data. Now, before we deep dive in the details of the Kanban board, let's have a quick view of all the key features that are available with the Kanban board. Now, with the Kanban view, we can visualize any CRM view as a lens in a Kanban view. We also have the ability to configure the fields for defining the categories. The next is the BPF support. The Kanban board supports to organize and categorize the records of a given entity in the Kanban view as per the business process flow defined for that entity. We also have row grouping. With Kanban board, we have the support to categorize the group records in a row on the basis of the selected field value, let's say such as a priority, high, normal, and low. The next one, probably my personal favorite, is the drag and drop ability of the cards. We have the ability to drag and drop the cards across the lanes and very quickly update the values of the underlying category field. The next is the configuration of the quick actions. Now, the cards can be configured to support creating of activity records like a phone call, email, appointment, and so on. The next is the compact card view. Now, the records in the Kanban view are represented as compact cards. We also have the ability to configure the information that is displayed on the card. The next is search. Search, sort, filter list, all of these. We have the support for search through native quick search available for the views in the CRM, and also the ability to sort the records and filter them by the date that they have been created. The Kanban is also context aware. We can perform any action from the ribbon bar by selecting the card as if you would be doing in the traditional view upon selecting a record. And finally, the aggregate field values. Now, this is probably one of the best features, and I will definitely touch base this during our demonstration. Now, this basically supports to view aggregate field values of the records on the lane and row headers. With that being said, let's deep dive in the demo and see almost all these features in action. To do that, let me switch back to my CRM window first. So here I am in my customer service hub and working on my cases. Traditionally, the records have been always visualized as a list of records in a tabular format. Now, these records can be a part of the continuous sales or even the customer service process. Now, but don't you think it would be easier to visualize the status of the record based on the stage at which it is in the process flow? So let's visualize these records in the Kanban view. So all we need to do is we can go here and we can hit the show as and then the Kanban view. Now I have already kept the Kanban view open for you. Now with just one view, I'm sure you are recollecting lots of features, the compact card view and so on and so forth. We can also set the Kanban view as the default view instead of the regular read-only grid. Now to set it as default, all we need to do is set some properties while configuring. We will definitely touch base this in some time. Now, as you can see in this view, the cases have been categorized depending upon the status of the case. Whether the case is in progress, on hold, waiting for details, researching, problem solved, and so on. Now, at a quick glance, we can easily identify the cases that are currently being worked upon versus the cases that are on hold or waiting for some information and so on. Now, each unique option in the status field will have its own lane created. Now, also notice that each lane is color coded. Now, these colors are picked up from the color which is associated, excuse me, associated with the corresponding status values on the case entity. Now, let me just look at all of these numbers. So if I focus on the in progress lane, at the top I can see that there are 23 cases which are currently in progress. Out of those 23 cases, couple of them are under high priority, 18 of them are normal, and the 3 of them are in the low priority. And that's the power of visualization. So let me just expand the view so that we can get a even detailed idea about all of these cards. Now let's talk about the card in each lane. Each card view, the one that I've highlighted right now, each card view can be customized to define up to 5 fields for a quick overview of the case without having to drill down or without even opening the case. Now, as we can see, we have the case number, we have the customer, we have the case title, and so on. Also, notice the quick create menu in which you have the option to quickly create an activity for the record here. Now, for the webinar purpose, I've just configured it for the email or for the phone call or just to create a task activity. Now, you can also move the cards from one lane to another. So let's say there is one case which is currently in progress, and now I need I'm just waiting for some details for this particular case to be resolved. So all I need to do is just drag the card from the in progress and put it into, let's say, the waiting for details, and there we go. So let me just expand this and let me show you one more. So here's as simple as it is. So what it is, not just copying the card from one lane to other. In fact, the underlying value is now changed from in progress to waiting for details. And once I have the details, let's say I now want to do some research. So all I need to do is just drag the card from waiting for details to, let's say, researching. And once I have identified the problem, I can then bring it back into in progress. Now, that's the power of Kanban board. Let's continue with the sorting part. Now, Kanban board also supports the sorting. Now, as we can see, currently it's being sorted in an ascending order. We just click, we can also make it in a descending order. Now, one of the interesting things that I want to touch base is also available here. So what I'm trying to convey over here is that this feature is known as the global sorting. Now, when we talk about a global sorting feature, this global sorting is by default applied on all the lanes which are present in the Kanban view, whereas the sorting which is present within the lane is applicable only to the in progress lane. Also, we have an option of case number, customer, origin, product, and case title. One of the questions that comes in my mind when I look into this is why only we have the case number, customer, origin, product, and case title. Now, these are the 5 pieces of information that will be available on the card, and that's why only these 5 information is present in this case. Moving to the next one, as I had mentioned, that the Kanban board can also be applied to the business process flows. So as we can see right now, we have this phone to case process and so on. However, one of the most interesting thing is the ability to pin. Now, the user with which I have logged in has the security roles of both the Kanban board user as well as the Kanban board administrator, and hence I can see a couple of pins. However, only the administrator can see this pin. If the logged in user does not have the administrator role, then he will be able to see only the first pin and he can pin this BPF only for himself. However, the administrator, by using the bigger pin, can make this business process flow as the default one for all the users who are then trying to log in. Also, moving further, like I had mentioned, we also have the filtering ability. So for example, let me just go ahead and let me hit a CAS-00179 and let me hit on enter. This generally should not take this much time, and we should be able to look the results very, very soon. Okay, let's hold on to this. Oh, here it is. So right now I got the result with CAS-00179. Now, as we can see, there are since there is only one case, the rest of the lanes have automatically gone blank, right? So to save the real estate, we can also use the feature called as hide empty lanes and rows. The moment I hit on it, I can see the proper usage of the real estate, wherein only one relevant card is now in front of me. Now, I also want to demonstrate an interesting feature, which is probably the best feature of the Kanban board, that is the aggregate function. So let me open the opportunity entity, and here it is. So rest of the card remains the same. We have everything remaining the same. The hide empty lanes, the business process flow support, everything remains the same. However, you may have noticed at the top we have the aggregate functions. Now, for the demonstration, what I have done is I have tried to come up with the sum of all the opportunities which are present in the in progress. And if I say the sum of the budgeted amount, since my opportunities have currencies of both USD and INR, I'm just getting the result of budgeted amount, which is sum both for USD and INR. We can also apply the different aggregate functions. I'll touch base the aggregate functions in some time, which aggregate functions are supported by the Kanban. Now, depending upon your business requirement, you may select those fields that really matters to your business requirements, or let's say the fields that you want your representatives to have really handy. Now, since I come from the business development background, for me, the budgeted amount is a very, very critical value. So every time I try to log in, I get to know that, oh, I have the opportunities which are in progress with the budgeted some amount of some, let's say 14,988 US dollars, and then it becomes a piece of inspiration for me, and I just go to the next level to achieve and close all the opportunities. Now, let's have a quick look and see how easy it is to get this configured. Kanban board is installed as a PCF control in your system, and you would need to customize the entity to associate the Kanban. So let's go to the, I've already kept the customizations, which is basically going into the advanced settings, and here we can deal with the customize the system. So once we hit the customize system, we can select the proper entity the way in which we have selected right now, where I have selected it as the Kanban board. Sorry, the opportunity entity, and within the opportunity entity, under the controls tab, we have got the Kanban. Now let's start with one by one. Now at the initial level of the webinar, I had mentioned that we can keep the Kanban view as the default view. This is the way in which we can specify if the Kanban board needs to be the default view. So we can, for the webinar, I have purposely not kept the Kanban board as a default for web, phone or tablet. But if the business use case states that the Kanban board should be default, we can easily set it up over here. The next one are the properties that needs to be configured. So let's look at one by one. Let's see the first one. The first one in this case is the lane filter criteria. Now the lane filter criteria is basically the criteria on which you want to determine all the lanes in that particular Kanban view. Once we define the lane, the next one is the row filter criteria. Just to gist up our memory, during the cases we had the lanes, whether they are in progress, researching and so on, and within the lanes we also had priority wise, which is high, normal or low. So we are setting it with the help of the row filter criteria. Now, as I had mentioned in the beginning, that the Kanban board is capable of delivering or holding 5 pieces of critical information that are required for your business use cases. Now, those 5 pieces of information is the header, the subheader, the body text 1, body text 2, and the body text 3. Once we identify which piece of information is critical for my representatives to work on, we can easily set those values right here with the help of this bind to a value on the field. We can also set the default sorting attribute. Now, if I'm not mistaken, by default it was sorting in an ascending order. If you want to keep it in the descending, we can use the default sorting attribute. The next one is the aggregate field types. Now, as we had mentioned that, I had used the sum and the max, we can set up to 3 aggregate field values with the help of aggregate field 1, 2, and 3. And which aggregate function will be applied on these types can be determined by aggregate type field 1. So as we can see here, I have set it up as sum for the field 1 and max for the field 2. This implicitly implies that while displaying, the aggregate field 1 will have the budget amount and the function would be applied as sum, whereas for the aggregate field 2, the field would be budgeted amount again, but the function will be applied as max. Now let me just hit on the button over here, and these are the aggregate functions that are being supported currently by the Kanban board, that is sum, max, min, and average. We can further also deep dive into the next attribute, which is the activity name. Now, if you recollect, we had set up 3 activities, which is task, email, and phone, with the help of the activity names here. Further, the card collapsed, row collapsed, and hide empty lanes. Now, this is subjective to the user perspective. So, if we can recollect, for the case entity, all the cards were collapsed as well as the row were collapsed. The reason is I had set that value to be collapsed. We can also set up the hide empty lanes by default. For the webinar purpose, I have not selected the hide empty lanes since I had to do it manually for the opportunities. But if you want to set it automatically, we can use the hide empty lanes. Now, that's pretty much it, right? So once we set up all these values, all we need to do is just hit on save and then publish, and you are ready to go. Now, I'm sure with all these features that I just demonstrated, I'm very much interested to know which feature excited you the most. So let me start a very quick 30-second poll, and I request you to please cast your vote. Now, the question is really simple. Which feature did you like the most about the Kanban board product? So whether it was the aggregate fields with the ability to pin, whether it was row grouping support, the business process flow support, my personal favorite of drag and dropping of the cards, or the quick create action to create for the configured activities. So we already have got drag and drop. So my personal favorite is currently the leading one, and the row grouping support is just behind it. Oh, perfect. So thank you very much for casting your vote. And before I move ahead, let me tell you, the clear-cut winner over here was drag and drop of the cards. However, the rest of the features, especially the row grouping support and the business process flow support, were not much behind. Now, it's really encouraging to know that almost all of them were equally placed against each other. Yes, that's really true. It's difficult to choose one feature over the other, and that's what visualization brings to the table. So for the time being, let me switch back to my PPT and introduce one more powerful solution, the Map My Relationships. Now, the Map My Relationships basically provides a mind map visualization of the Dynamics 365 records. Just like Kanban, let me very quickly give a sneak peek of all the features that are available with the Map My Relationships. The first is the 360-degree view. Now, with Map My Relationship, you can get the 360 degrees view of all the relevant important data of the record in a single view. Now, the Map My Relationship also supports one-to-many, many-to-one, as well as many-to-many information. We also have the grouping and the aggregation. The Map My Relationships supports for viewing aggregate values without the need for creating the roll-up fields. Again, my personal favorite over here is the Map My Connections. We can configure the connection control to create, update, view, and delete the connection records. It provides a visual layout of the connections, which allows to analyze data in much quicker way, thereby helping to take faster decisions that are information based. With Map My Relationships, we also have the ability to create a new entity record through the entity node in the relationship view in just a single click. Also, we can perform the quick actions. The Map My Relationship has the ability to quickly record any activity, maybe like a phone call or an appointment, for related records. Now, this feature of the Map My Relationship allows the user to quickly record any activity. For example, if the user wants to send an email to the client, they can just click on the related record and create the activity on the map view itself. The users can configure any system or a custom activity for them to perform quick actions from the map view itself. The next is the color legends. With Map My Relationships, you have the ability to indicate the respective connection roles that records are connected to. We will definitely touch base the color legends in some time. And finally, we have the drill down up to nth level. We can set up the child configuration and we can drill down n level further through the relationships of an entity. Now, this provides better clarity of how records are connected to each other and helps to make quick information-based decisions. With that, let me quickly jump into the live demonstration of Map My Relationships. So I'm sure this looks very familiar, right? What we can see on my screen now is the default view of the accounts from my sales account. Now, pretty decent and simple. However, if I need to know how many opportunities are attached to this account, how many contacts are associated with this account, how many connections and in which role these connections are associated with this account, probably I don't have these answers in a single glance. Now let's see what Map My Relationship brings to the table. So let me open the first account, which is the A Technotronics Innovations. I've already got it open for you. And since we have installed and configured the Map My Relationships for the webinar, we can see a couple of tabs that we have configured. The first is the Map My Relationships, and second is the Map My Connections. So let me show you what Map My Relationships is all about. So let me hit on the Map My Relationships tab. Now, in this current version, what we are looking at is A Technotronics Innovations being at the center has around 8 opportunities, 21 contacts, 6 connections, and a couple of tasks associated with itself. So if I, let's say, single click here, which should I click? Okay, so a single click on the connections, you may observe that we can create a new connection from here itself. So just imagine the ease of use in such cases. Also, the connections can be viewed in a table just like this. Now, let me double click the connections here. And now you will notice who are the 6 connections that I was talking about. Now, you may also have noticed that Map My Relationship is able to fetch the record image seamlessly. Let me talk to you about a very interesting connection, which is Abraham Cratch. Now, as we can see, Abraham Cratch is one of the connections with a Technotronics innovation. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and double click on Abraham Cratch. And you may now notice that Abraham, this is one of the classic examples of the drill down, the N level drill down that I had mentioned few moments back. So Abraham Cratch is actually acting as a connection, not just to one of the organization, which is A Technotronics Innovations. Rather, he is a part of the, he's acting as a connections to 18 different entities. Now, those can be either accounts or the contacts. So as we can see, Abraham Cratch is a part, is acting as a connections to all these records. And if I just take one moment, here is the original record from which we started the drilling down. So we started with A Technotronics to the connections, from the connections to Abraham Cratch, and from Abraham Cratch I went down to all the different 18 connections in which Abraham Cratch is working. Okay, so let me just go back to the next one, which is my opportunities. So the first things first, as we can see, on a single click, I have the opportunity to create a new opportunity here. So let me just go ahead and hit the double click. On double clicking, the first thing that you may observe is that yes, A Technotronics Innovation has 8 opportunities, but they are now, we can look into the grouping aspect as well. So 5 opportunities are in progress, whereas 3 are on hold. So also, if I, let's say, if I just hover over any of these, we also see the aggregate function, which is, again, I have applied the max as the aggregate function on the budgeted amount. So let me just double click this, and here we have all the 5 opportunities that are currently in progress. Let me just hover on one of the opportunity, and lovely, I get a view. So I get a simple view that is sorry, if I hover over any opportunity, you may also notice that as a tooltip, I'm displaying some extra information about the opportunity. This can be easily configured to suit your business requirements. Now, so far, so good, right? Similarly, we can also have for tasks as well as the contacts. However, one of the feature or one of the highlight that I want to show is the map my connections. So let me go on to the tab, and again you will notice the 6 connections here, excuse me, in a simple grid view. The first things first, I can also hit over here and connect a new I can hit a new connection, and I can also connect it either as a business, family, or the sales team. However, the magic, the visualization lies in this relationship view. So a similar view that we had seen right now. However, now what I'm going to do is I'm again going to double click the connections. Now, once I double click the connections, you will notice that all the 6 connections that are connected to my 8 Technotronics innovations have been now color coded. One of the key features that I had mentioned few moments back. Now with the color coding, it becomes very easy for me to identify that what is the connection role in which the person is associated with the account. For example, the red, that's a great color coding. The red has been kept as the former employee, the green has been kept as current employee, and so. Not just viewing, but you can also click connect the way I had mentioned over here. We can also add up a new connection from right here itself. And with that, for me, this is a classic example of visualization and the ease of use going hand in hand. Now, let's see what it takes to configure the Map My Relationships. So to configure the Map My Relationships, I'm just going under the customization once again, and I need to customize the system, and I need to select the proper entity. Now, since we were working on the accounts, I've selected the entity as account, and under the account on the forms, I am just opening the main form, which is the account. So I've just kept it open for you, and within this, if you notice, I've just mentioned the map my relationship, and I've added this control. And if I open the properties under the controls tab, this is where I have actually selected my map my relationships control. Now with map my relationships control, you can easily set the one to many, many to one, and many to many relationships just by clicking the pen symbol over here. However, if we set the default one to many to one, and many to many relationships, the advanced feature, maybe the right click, the drill down, all these features won't be available. And that's where we also have the map my relationships control, wherein I have mentioned it as account-contact. Now, the moment I see account-contact, the first thing that comes in my mind is, where is this account-contact being configured? And to show that, let me just switch back to my Map My Relationship Solutions. And within my Map My Relationship Solutions, I have set the entity configuration account-contact. So the output that you saw on the screen over here under the Map My Relationships tab, which is the contacts, connections, opportunities, and tasks, is the result of this contact entity configuration that's present within my Map My Relationship solution. So let me just open the account contact, and here is all the relationships that I have maintained. So just expand it. So here's my all the connections, all the tasks that are associated, all the contact customer accounts, and this is my opportunity. So let's take it one by one. So we are setting this on the account entity. Perfect. We are also using the image as entity image. If we want, we can also use the record image, or even the image URL if you want to have a specific image for the for this particular account contact. Now the allowed actions, if you recollect, when I'm right clicking, I can have the email, I can have the phone call, and these all are completely configurable. I can also set the appointment or any other facts, and as per your business requirement. Now let me just open one of the entity relationships and just touch basing the opportunities here. Now with the opportunities, I'm just going back to my accounts, and this is my opportunities. So as we can see, we have the grouping, we can see the budgeted amount, that's the aggregate function, and once we expand it by double clicking, we get all the related opportunities. Now to get all this, we also get the tooltip, right? So let's see how this has been configured. So first of all, I can keep it as the node label. Now by default, it is taking it as opportunities. However, if your business use case use a different nomenclature for opportunities and you don't want to get it confused, we can also use the custom label. So once we select the custom label as yes, you can select the name that needs to be displayed on the map my relationships control. We can also set the image, and by default what will be the view filter, which has been set to open opportunities. We have also set the tasks under the allowed actions. Let me show you very quickly. So once I right click on any of the opportunity, here is the task, and the view to be shown as the fields on the tooltip, that's again the open opportunity. So every time I'm hovering on any of these opportunities, the view that is being shown is nothing but the open opportunities. Further, I have kept the group by as the status reason, and that is basically the reason why I can see the grouping as in progress and on hold. We can also use the custom label in case if you're not happy with the by default label that is being shown. And the last one is the measure. Now, if you recollect, every time I was hovering on that group, it gives me the budgeted amount, which is max. Now, the reason I'm able to see is because I have applied the max aggregate function on the budgeted amount. And once we set all these values and once we save and close, all we are going to get is the excellent visualization of the records or the data which is actually present within your CRM. Now, with that, time for a very quick poll for the Map My Relationships. The question remains the same. Which feature did you like the most about the Map My Relationship solutions? Whether it was creating an associate record, whether it's creating activities like email, phone call, the color legends, or the drill down to n-level relationships. The color legends, my personal favorite again. Oh, drill down. So drill down has now taken the lead over the color legends. Associating create associate record is also not far behind. Okay guys, thank you so much for your vote, and with that I'll just stop the poll process, and the winner hands down is the drill down to n level relationships. It has almost 100% of the audience is agreeing with drill down features. With that being said, let me just very quickly switch back to my PowerPoint. Now, the supported versions for Map My Relationships and the Kanban board is Microsoft Dynamics 365 version 9.1 and above, and in Dataverse. The deployment model is Dynamics 365 Online. Before I open the floor, let me just very quickly run through the most frequently asked questions during my demonstrations and so on. Is there a limit in viewing the relationship between the records? Absolutely no. There is no limit in viewing the relationships between the records. If the relationships are present in the CRM and if you have configured it correctly, there is no limit for that. Are the Kanban board and Map My Relationships compatible across multiple devices? Absolutely yes. Is it possible to view the details of the records in the map in the relationship map? I think we just saw it in the demonstration. What Microsoft Dynamics products do you support? Well, it is Dynamics 365 version 9.1 onwards and the Dataverse. Is it possible to switch to the normal grid view once the Kanban board is installed? Yes, it is. If we just on the three dots, we can just show it as the read-only grid view. Now, how to get started. I'll talk about how to get started in a few moments, but before that, let me just open the floor for any question and answers. Oh, so one of the question is, can we have a trial? Oh, just give me a couple of moments. On the next slide, probably I'll give you all the answer for about the trial. Now, since you have already mentioned the trial, let me just very quickly go to the next slide, which is my personal favorite slide, and that's about the client testimonials for our product, the Kanban board and the Map My Relationships, who have been using these solutions since many years. Now I'll keep the screen open for some seconds. Pricing. One more question that I have is pricing. Well, I'll definitely, what I will recommend is, I will request you to drop an email at this on crm@inogic.com, and I'll be extremely happy to share the pricing with you in an email. I'm sorry. So what next? I'm pretty sure one of the questions that was asked, how we can get started. So you can download the Kanban board and the Map My Relationships from our website, www.inogic.com, or even from Microsoft App Stores. You will get a fully functional 15 days trial. Please go ahead, enjoy the power of visualization, and drop an email at crm@inogic.com in case you need any assistance in configuring the solutions as per your business use cases, and we will be extremely happy to assist you. I hope that answers the question that was asked previously. And with that being said, I just want to thank you for attending this webinar, and we hope that you enjoyed this webinar